and we're eating, leaning, and so on and so forth. Okay. Now the truth is like this. This middle question over here, that on all nights, right, we eat vegetables, but on this night we eat maror. Is that true? Meaning, like, I get the first part. We only eat matzah, right? It's true, right? The third one is we have got our way to double dipping. We're focused on double dipping. And the last thing is that we don't normally eat misubin. No one's sitting there with big pillows, their feet up, and eating food on leaning to their left. But over here, it's maror. People eat maror throughout the year. Right?
Romaine lettuce.
They eat romaine lettuce. Oh, so what is that question about? Right? Ask your kids, look, what is this question about? Don't we eat the whole entire year? Right? What's so unique about the maror? Why are we talking about the maror here? We eat maror everywhere we go. I eat it even when it's not Pesach. I just had romaine lettuce in my sandwich. You know, I smear cream cheese and put some everything seasoning on top of it. It's delicious, right? So I'm gonna give you the answer, okay? Now remember, what is the maror symbolic of?
Slavery.
It's about the slavery, sheep, right? That we actually eat certain things to remind us of different aspects of the slavery. Now it's very hard to feel like a slave when you're living in Brooklyn in 2018. And part of what we're doing, or Staten Island, wherever you're coming from, you know, but I think it's not easy to feel like a slave. Maybe it's not.
We got bigger matches this. I don't know.
Be bitter about life is hard.
The point is
we have to sit. We have to wait for our food. You know,
it's just very hard. It's very hard for you to sit away from your food. The point is like this, okay? Like this. I'm going to give you a mashal. This mashal, if you give it over to your kids, you should make it longer. Make this your story. Your kids, like my kids, still remember the story when I told them when they were young. Okay, so much of Pesach is telling stories to your kids. You have to make your own stories. This is when people get together with family time. You're creating memories for them. This will shape the way they think about their Passover and their lives forever. Like you have open minds and canvases sitting there. Go out of your way to like get them to think about what it is that we're actually doing. Tell them stories. You know, it was Shlomo Karlbach used to say that you know you're old when you stop telling stories, right? That kids tell stories, but adults, big people don't tell stories. So I go out of my way to tell stories as often as I can because I don't want to get wrinkly and old. Anyway, so that's my secret to youth, by the way. Anyway, okay, it's working so far. Okay, fine. So let me tell you the story. Okay, there was a king. Okay, a king and a queen had a powerful kingdom. They had had everything in this kingdom. Okay, it was perfect, beautiful. Palace, gorgeous. It was clean. It was stunning. It was amazing. The people they loved the king and queen. Everyone loved the king and queen. They were amazing people. They protected the people. They educated the people. They provided for the people. Exactly what the king and queen were supposed to do. Okay. So anyway, but for many years, the king and queen did not have any children. And this was a very big taxing thing to the people of this kingdom. Like, who's going to take over for the king and queen? Oh my God. Scary thing. So the king and queen got together and said, listen, we want everyone to get together. We want to do a special day of prayers for the king and queen. And we want to pray for the king and queen to have a child. So the whole community gets together. They have this big party. They're all doing their own thing. Everyone's praying to their gods. They want the king and queen to have a child because everyone loves this king and queen. Okay, this is a Rabbi Nachman story. And the king and queen finally conceive. And a year later, they give birth. And it's a very, very big simcha because it's a baby boy, which means it'll carry the parents' legacy. And the whole kingdom is so excited. A baby boy is born, and like the palace is even more beautiful, and flowers, and it's just stunning. You could go ahead and put use any kind of words to explain the kingdom and the castle as much as you want. Okay, fine. So anyway, they raise this kid, and this kid is being taught in the ways of their parents. Humble, to be honest, to be truthful, to be good, caring individual, to be a good, caring individual. And this is the way the kid's going to go through this education. Anyway, at one point, the kid becomes very, very, very sick. Okay, he becomes very, very, very sick. born, and he realized that he's not going to make it. He's going to die. He's got a very crazy disease. He's not going to make it. So they're like, well, we got to do something. We got to save his life. So they're like, well, we tried. All the doctors came. We have best technology that we possibly have. There's nothing. We don't know how to save this kid's life. We don't know why he's dying. Okay. So there's got to be something out there. So the king sends out his messengers to all the kingdoms, find someone. So one of the soldiers comes up to the king and says, listen, there's a guy who's famous. He's not your MD, but he knows the ways of the forest. He knows about all the herbs and the spices, like a holistic kind of guy. Maybe this guy can help you out. So I don't care, do anything, send a battalion of troops there, bring him to me. So they're looking for the forest, they're trying to find this guy's house. They can't find it. Eventually they find it deep in the woods, on the top of a tree. They find this house. And they're looking for this guy, a man in the woods. And the man in the woods sees all these soldiers there, and he comes out and he's like, what do you guys want? He's like, the king orders you to come. He's like, I'm not coming to your king. He's like, I'm my own kingdom. I'm like, I'm not going anywhere. Right? I'm the king of my own place. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. So like, we beg you, please come. It's important. And all the soldiers are talking about how this child is alive, and they're asking you for help. So he says, you know what? I'll come, but it's got to be on my terms. If the king wants me to come on my terms, that means whatever I say goes. Otherwise, I ain't going. So this is not a problem. I'm going to go to the king. The king says, whatever it is, come. Okay? They come into they bring this old man, and this is an old man, a jungle man. He's got like leaves all over him, and this tall, like, bearded guy, coming out of this thing, and you have all these dignitaries standing there with their science people. Well, this is the guy you're going to let him treat the king, the prince. Like, you're going to have this crazy Mishugana inside your palace taking care of this little kid. So they're like, I don't care, we're desperate to try anything. So this wild man, this jungle man comes in. He sees this kid, looks at it, he says, I know exactly what's wrong. He's like, the king's like, amazing, what do you need? He's like, I need all of these special kinds of herbs, but I will heal the child on one condition. That I teach him the ways of the jungle, of the forest. Okay? If you let me teach him and educate him, and he becomes my disciple, I see a lot of power in him, I will heal him on condition that I can be his teacher. When I teach him. So they're like, whatever you want. And at this point, the advisors are coming out, well, king, this is not a good idea. You can't leave a jungle man, his untrained scientific mind, with your child, and he's going to heal him. Who knows what he's going to do? He's like, I don't care, he's going to give what he wants. He goes out, he makes this concoction. Very, very bitter concoction. Okay? And he puts it into the kid's mouth. And it's so bitter that in his unconscious thing, and every single time, day after day, that this kid keeps touching this bitter stuff, he slowly begins to come out of this unconscious state and becomes to be revived. And when he comes revived, he sees this shadowy figure, this jungle man standing in his room. He's like, who are you? He's freaking out. Where's my mom and dad? They come in, everyone's so happy. The prince is saved. Okay? This is where the story gets cool. Okay? So what ends up happening is that everyone hears about how the prince is saved. And in the meantime, the jungle man, he has a special place in the palace. Whatever he needs, he has a waiting. Now he's moving in, and he's teaching the boy. Okay? So as word spreads that this little boy survives, okay, of course there are people, there are bandits out there, there are pirates out there that want to go ahead and use this child as a way of corrupting the kingdom. So what do? There's a bunch of thieves that plot to kidnap the prince and ransom him off. Okay, so what do? They come in the middle of the night. No one knows. And they have armed themselves, come in like old school Mission Impossible style, and kidnap the kid. Okay? Kidnap the kid. In the meantime, the jungle man is standing there in the shadows, sees everything happening, but he can't get involved because he was outnumbered. So he let them kidnap the kid. In the meantime, he's following them. Okay? He's following them wherever they go. He's always a step behind in the shadows. He knows how to avoid being seen. And he sees they're taking the kid, and they put him onto this ship, and they're sailing him away. Sailing him away. Leave him in a box and they're trying to ransom him, get word out. And then in the meantime, the king and queen find out that the kid is missing, and they are devastated. And at some point, this jungle man loses sight of the boy, and he's out on his own. Okay, and years go by, and all the education, all the good that was given to this kid becomes corrupt. He starts living with these people, and becomes like garbagey, trashy, and all the good that the parents tried to do. So this kid is lost. This kid has no idea. Okay. Anyway, in the meantime, the kingdom is falling apart. Everyone's depressed. This beautiful palace now is filled with cobwebs. It's all broken. People are just broken people. Everything is dead. Anyway, years and years pass already. The king and queen do not have a child. And there's a rumor in the kingdom that the princess still is alive. Okay? And now this jungle man actually is still alive, and he finds where the kid is. And he kidnaps the kid and brings him back to the palace. He's chained up. And they bring him inside, and he's like, you know, I want to go back to my friend. I want to write my prayer friends. So show us how do you want to go back? Your parents give so much to you. They support you. They love you. I don't care about my parents. Where were they 20 years ago when I was locked in that cell? How can they have guards? How do I know they weren't the ones? Totally unappreciative. Right? So broken that there's all this hope of their child returning, but he wasn't the same kid that he was when they lost him, the little young boy. So I know I can help bring him back, but I need the same exact thing. You guys got to give me my space and do my thing. So the first thing that he does is that he makes this concoction that saved the boy 20 years before. The first thing the boy does is when he eats this spicy herbs that saved his life before, he gets a flashback of where he was 20 years ago. And he sees himself as a young boy again. And he takes another bite. So give it to me again. Give me another bite. And he has another flashback of where he was 20 years ago. And slowly he begins to remember. Okay? That's the story. The story is about us. So the Mar. What's the Mar supposed to do? The Mar is supposed to give us a flash into the past of not only where our ancestors were 2,800 years ago in Egypt, but where we are today, like Rabbi Goldstein said earlier. We're all in our personal Egypts. We're in our personal slaveries. Wake up! The Mar is about waking yourselves up. And it's so easy to be lost. It's so easy to kind of like just get swept away. But the Mar is not about eating the bitter herb. The Mar is about making a mental connection to a part that is lost, a part that is a child in all of us that has yet to emerge, that innocent part of our inner being, the part of us that's so clean and so pure, that has never been tainted. And on Pesach, we want to bring it out. Right? So we eat the Mar. When we talk about it over here, we talk about we're talking about the medicine that God needed to use in our people to wake them up out of their slavery in Egypt. And it's the same slavery that we're in today. Wake up. That's what we say. When we eat the maror, don't just tell the Haggadah. Just don't read the Haggadah. Tell the story of the Haggadah. Right? It's so deep. There's so much happening in the background over there. And last concept. Then you guys are free to share whatever you want. At the end of the Haggadah, we sing a song. We sing a song called Haggadah. Okay? And if you've never seen this before, it's totally worth. If you haven't seen it before, it's totally worth getting the Gra.
Right on. Let's go.
Interpretation on Haggadah. Haggadah is very simply Haggadah. Right? There is this Gedi. Right? There's this ram that is these two rams. And it talks about a father, Zabin Abed, who bought it for two mezuzim, right? And then we read it over again. Then you have the shnura, right? This cat comes along and eats this gedi, right? And then you have later this dog that comes and kills the cat. And then you have a stick that comes away and takes away the dog. And then you have this fire that burns up the stick. You have this water that burns up the fire, and then you have this bull that drinks up the water, and then you have this shochet that kills the bull, and then you have the angel of death coming and killing the actual shochet himself. So what's the story about? What's the story about? So it's not about the story about Haggadah, according to the Gra, according to the Vilna Gaon, is a very powerful story about our ancestors. And the Haggadah is about how Esav sold his birthright to Yaakov for 2 gedis, okay, and how he bought it off of him, okay. And it's the story about how our people were exiled. This is a metaphor. This is the most powerful way to tell any kind of story. So what happens? You have 2 gedis, okay, and then you have these gedis that come, and you have this cat that actually kills these gedis. I'm trying to remember what the cat was. 1 second.
It's great with tea.
Oh, goats.
Tea with coffee or something.
So we know that he gets like asked to bring 2 gedis. One was with Pesach, and one was with Chagiga, and that's what so the cat over here is symbolic. No, 1 second.
No, do it in house.
Sorry, I remember all it's over the cat.
Main house?
You remember the cat?
Not main house, we've seen.
The bedroom.
What about the cat? Like,
The cat is symbolic of jealousy. The cat is the most jealous of all the animals. And the cat, the thing that went ahead and killed the Gedis, the thing that allowed Jacob to have his birthright, was the jealousy of the brothers.
wow.
Jealousy of the brothers. They ended up being chased away by the dog. The dog is the symbol of Egypt. And the Egyptians and the Egyptian slavery chased away the cat, the jealousy of the brothers. They were so enslaved, so impoverished, until the stick came and chased away the dog. Who is the stick? Moses is the stick. And Moses ends up using his big stick to chase away the dog. But then there's a fire that comes and destroys the stick. What's the fire? The fire is the fire of passion. It's the fire of the passions for the 3 cardinal sins, for Avodah Zarah, Shvichas Damim, and Gilui Arayos. And this fire chases away everything that Moses does.
Wow.
Okay? And then you have the water that comes back. And the water is symbolic of the Kohen Gadol, in the Beis Hamikdash, the water libations in the Beis Hamikdash that restores faith between God and man that lasted for so long. But eventually, the great bull comes and chases it and then destroys and drinks up the water and takes away everything that the Kohanim brought to the world. The big bull over here is symbolic of Rome. Then comes Mashiach, the Shochet, and he slaughters the yoke of Rome. He destroys the exile that we're in right now. But even Mashiach comes to an end because a Malcham Hamas takes his life. So the story of the Haggadah is not just a story of random things. It's a story about our history, in the past and in the future. It's a prophecy about what the world's going to be like. But you could choose to read the words as is and never think deeply about what you're actually saying. But the song itself is a way to remind you that the deepest secrets of our people were told in the most simplest kinds of way, through storytelling. And that's what Haggadah is. Find time to either read the Haggadah beforehand. There's thousands of this copy of the Haggadah has 200